So we're looking at now political insight. Guys, after the political insight, right, we'll have our confession story time as per usual. And we do have some juicy confession in store for you guys. So I'm encouraging you to stick around because me alone can't hear all of that tea. Get what I'm saying? Cool. Political insight. What are your thoughts on gentle parenting compared to the traditional form? Now, what you call gentle parenting? What is gentle parenting all about? What does that mean? So gentle parenting is a parenting approach that encourages a partnership between you and your child to make choices based on an internal willingness instead of external pressure. So they're willingly listening to you and not because you're gonna box them down, basically. It means parenting without shame, blame, or punishment. It's a partnership between parties, and according to parents, both caregivers and children have a say in this collaborative style. My God, imagine having a say as a child. Can't relate. Oppressed and depressed. Let's go. What is traditional parenting? What does that mean? So, traditional parenting is when parents expect their children to respect and obey authority, as well as comply with their cultural beliefs and values. Yeah. Noted. This style of parenting can result in higher academic achievements and lower behavioral and psychological problems. This basic sense of traditional parenting is all about being affectionate and loving the child, but also holding power over them. Cool? We got the two differences. Now let's look at a few pros and cons. Well, cons. So gentle parenting, some of the cons. The child may lack discipline or become spoiled. Parents need to exercise self-restraint. So if you as a parent don't have that kind of control, it's going to be hard for you to do gentle parenting. Traditional respect may not be shown to the parent. You know, when your mom gives you that side eye that us Caribbean people used to, I would know say it means straighten up and behave yourself. You know, maybe if somebody who is, you know, get the gentle parenting approach, they might not know what a side eye means. They might be like, awa, who knows? Now, traditional parenting, the child harbors resentment towards the parents, psychological damage to child, physical harm to child, normalized culture of abuse. Cool? So turn up your devices. I'm going to mute. We're going to look at 3 videos. 2 of the videos will be about gentle parenting and 1 will be about traditional parenting. I will play them in that order. The first 2 is gentle parenting and the last one will be traditional parenting. Turn up your device. I'm going to mute. I'm going to play the videos.
I know you want the TV on. When we've calmed down, then we can turn the TV on. I know you're frustrated, honey. Mama hears you. You want to watch Blippi. Do you want to grab a bar?
Yeah.
Let's grab a bar. We're going to grab a bar, then we can go sit down.
Yeah.
Let's grab a bar.
My face.
I'm angry.
Back up.
Mom,
Now.
I'm very angry.
I understand that, but it's time for you to go to bed. Good night. Come give me a hug.
Mommy.
I love you.
Help. I would be the party.
Go to the potty.
And
And then it's time to go to bed.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm crying.
I see.
My face is dry eyes.
I'll dry your eyes and then you go to the potty and then you go to bed, okay?
Okay. Can you give me a hug?
Come give me a hug. I love you.
Love you.
Dry your eyes. Now go to the potty and then it's time to go to bed. Alright. I love you.
I love you.
Because you were the child. And if you talk disrespectfully to me, if you are yelling at me, if you are screaming, losing your temper, there's going to be huge consequences. I am the adult. So I can lose my temper and scream at you whenever I want to. And it's okay if there's no consequences for me because, well, because I'm the adult. But you, even though you're a child, not allowed to, you have to have complete control over your emotions. But me, I am your mother. I am the adult here, so I can completely lose control over my emotions without any
Okay. We've seen the videos. We've seen the presentation. I'm going to ask you guys to raise your hands. Let's talk about it. All right. Go ahead, Talia.
Right. So, I think that gentle parenting allows children to express their emotions and become emotionally intelligent, and I feel like that's something that we don't necessarily see in traditional parenting. So we can see, like in the first video where the parent says, I understand you are frustrated, which validates the child's emotions. And in the second one, you see that the child is willingly expressing that he's angry. And most traditional parents see that as a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing when you validate children's emotions and say, I understand you're feeling that way, but so and so and so, and you still have to do something and explain to them why they have to do it, rather than just, as the third video was saying, simply expect, just like set out rules. When the child doesn't understand, it just comes off as a way that makes the child just build up resentment. So I feel like that style of parenting is a partnership between like the child and the parent, as was mentioned, and I feel like that doesn't exist in traditional parenting. And like the interesting thing about the traditional parenting video is that the parent says, I can lose my temper because I'm an adult, while you cannot because you are a child, when scientifically an adult should be more able to regulate their emotions. So I find that like logic to be questionable.
Thank you very much for sharing. Nathaniel, Shante, Miss Nugent, you guys have anything you want to add? Miss Angel, anything to add? LJ, Ethan.
Okay, I'm going to say something.
Okay, take the floor.
It won't be very long, but I think the reason why they have this much patience is because of the laws of the government in whatever country they are, because they aren't allowed to put their hands on their kids, or else we call them the parent control government foundation, whatever them be. Them have the ability to take them away if
Child protective services.
So yeah, because if it's in Jamaica, some Jamaican parents will take a more a different approach, and that's by using the belt to punish them. So I think the laws of the country has something to do with why they take that approach. But it's a good approach anyway. And that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. You can go ahead, Angel.
Okay, good night. The last video about traditional parenting, I think that wasn't a good video choice, because even though I was born 2000, in the 2000 era, I was actually raised by parents who, the traditional way, and they didn't necessarily always use the belt. Sometimes they actually be like, they do take away your stuff, or probably they wouldn't hit you anywhere to harm you, kill you, like hit you in your back and stuff like that, probably in your palm of your hands or on the buttocks. But in this generation, my dear, the gentle parenting won't work. No, the gentle parenting won't work because these children will embarrass you if you don't know what you are doing, okay? They will say, "Mommy too soft," or whatever, and they will embarrass you. So you have to, I think you can use a mixture of both, know when to be gentle and when to be rough. So that's my thought.
Thank you very much for that. Anyone else wants to add, or they want me to call on them again? Okay, before we go to Talia, I think I want to speak on it. I am very intrigued by this new form of parenting, the gender parenting approach. I especially like the fact that it encourages children to speak up, like express their emotions, work through their emotions, because I think a lot of adults that probably didn't experience that as like children, they grow up and they don't know how to process their emotions, and they lash out, and they have insecurities, and they don't communicate effectively because they were not raised like that. So now they're trying to work on it, but remember, these are deep-rooted behavioral traits that they had from childhood that they're trying to fix now in their adulthood. So I do appreciate how gentle parenting allows the child to express themselves in a safe way. As if me ever sit to my mother after she disciplined me, I'm angry. What if I cry? I give something to cry for, and I'm sure some of us can understand what that's like in terms of when you're crying and they're like they what do you say? They reject your notion and invalidate your feelings. Like, why are you crying for? Like, if they hurt your feelings, don't cry. I didn't hit you. So I appreciate that aspect of gentle parenting. In terms of how they discipline children, I do think children should be disciplined nonetheless. Just like in life as an adult, when you do something wrong, you face consequences. The discipline doesn't necessarily mean you have to be like, whap, get like hit. Maybe they could take away some of your privileges, but I do think each child is different. So maybe for me, you take away my phone, you take away my computer, you take away my books. Those hurt me and those make me not want to do the thing again. We have some children that they don't care about that stuff. It's like you have to, physically discipline them, or you're not disciplining them at all. So I do think it depends on the type of child that you have. There are pros to each approach. I appreciate being more mindful of emotional control, mental well-being that gentle parenting offers. Go ahead, Talia.
Yeah, I was gonna say along the lines of, I believe it was Ethan who mentioned the laws, and I do believe that has something to do with it. But I also believe that like parents, regardless of which country they're in and whether or not it's legal, should always try to do the least amount of like physical or psychological harm to their children. And like something that I want to like put into context is that traditional parenting and gentle parenting can both be done incorrectly. And I think Jay was like mentioning that as well. So gentle parenting actually does have discipline, but the difference between the two is where the discipline comes from. In traditional parenting, we tend to see where a child does something, the parent is angry, and the parent disciplines the child in a state of anger. And that leads to rash punishments. It leads to punishments that are harsher than needed, and it leads to inflicting trauma and harm upon the child. But with gentle parenting, you acknowledge their emotions, you talk to the child, you can still be firm and strict and exercise discipline. But let's say if your child breaks a glass, you're not going to be angry and say, "What you're breaking glass for?" and get them to lick. You're gonna be like, "I'm very disappointed in you," so on, so on, so on, so on. And then like you cool yourself down and then you discipline the child. So I believe like I believe children should be disciplined as well, but I believe that how you do it and also explaining and ensuring that your child understands why discipline is necessary is important in avoiding like trauma.
Thank you so much for expressing that, and I'm in agreement with most of what you said. We have another hand raised. Go ahead, Fernando. You can go ahead.
Okay, so my take, I believe there's a difference between, abusing and discipline, right? First thing, I don't believe I have to like every time before I beat a child, I have to tell them that I'm going to beat you now. No, they should expect it. I will let them know what they did wrong. Well, from beforehand. So I don't have to repeat myself. They just know that it's judgment time. I don't believe in, I believe in teaching the child as well. So like, after the fact, not before the fact, but after the fact, after the whooping and they're crying, and then, it's about to wear off. That's when you talk to the child. That's when you, more likely to give the child the reason why you beat them so harsh. And it won't be a every time thing, because then they will be comfortable and say, oh, that's all I'm going to get. No, they still need to have that fear that this might get worse. So I don't believe in like giving away the secret of beating the child. I believe there should be a mystery. That child should really believe that if they continue, it's next to death. But not, beating the child, leaving marks and scars and all of these things. I also don't see gentle parenting profitable, because let's face facts. We are living in the generation of gentle parenting, and we are seeing where it's not beneficial. So yeah, that's my little 2 cents.
Okay, thank you very much for your input in that regard.
Can I add something real quick?
To Fernando?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I find it interesting that he said that we're in the generation of gentle parenting and it's not beneficial. But when you look at our context in Jamaica, when you have the parents literally took up iron and fling off of them picnic, and you see them still going out, because the violent culture is so normalized, they go out and they beat other kids and perpetuate violence, and they still go out and give trouble and do a lot of things. I'm pretty sure that we all have experiences or like know that one kid who would always get like the biggest beatings and they would still be like so rude. So it just proves that like while it does work, I'm not gonna invalidate beating and say that it doesn't work, but is it the most effective, or should it be the most like default form of punishment? I think that's questionable, because I feel like nowadays our values have changed and you can do so much to children and as punishment instead of like assaulting them. So I believe in grounding. I believe in like taking away things that they value and stuff like that. And yeah, it does work, because if your child loves social media or loves TV, if you take that away from them, they're going to like, and you don't allow them to go out to like fill the gap, they're going to like want to behave. So I believe that there are other forms of punishment that we can probably do before like beating. I believe in beating as being like a last resort. So yeah, I definitely think that should be considered.
Okay. For sure. I mean, I don't agree that it should be, exact last resort, I believe sometimes it should be the first resort, sometimes it should be the last, sometimes it should be the second, right? It's how you as a parent understand your child. Yes, I do agree that when beating a child, you should not be in anger. From And also comparing the stats, right? I remember, well, I'm saying I remember like it's like I'm old, but I remember a time when I was in school. Yes, there was this bad kid, but the bad kid was more of a verbal bully than a physical bully. And every time his parents come to school, and I do agree, like when you become extreme, then the kid is going to respond with extremes. Like if you're, like with iron and all of these things, those are extreme. That's not like, the traditional way of discipline, but that's the extreme way of disciplining, beating the child. I believe in punishment. Like when I was young, I used to, on beer bottles, right? The cover, I used to have to kneel on those. Those are like traditional punishment. Holding dictionaries in your hand, and I'm talking like big dictionaries. Stretch out your hand. Every time when your hand drop, a belt just reach you and you have to put it up back. I believe in those type of punishment that are just like, I would say to a degree, they are symbolic to what the world will treat you if you lapse or if you misbehave in the world. Those are the results. So I believe in a parent's job is to teach or guide that child in the world so that they can be productive and that they will understand the consequences for their actions. Whereas gentle parenting, they don't know what is really the consequences for their actions. They just, so, whatever. I can just spit in her face, spit in his face, and nothing will come out of it. Mom is just going to shout, maybe just take away my tablet. And then after a week or two, I'm going to get it back. And then all I'm going to do is just ensure I don't give her it the next time, because that's all it is, That's how I view it.
Okay.
I actually agree with what you said about symbolism and stuff, and I think that was a point that made me like kind of agree a bit more. But I also would say that, like, don't you believe that there should be at least a certain age between like birth and like maybe pre-teens where children shouldn't necessarily get certain types of punishment just because they cannot fully form like judgments? So just as how a child may commit a crime and they won't be prosecuted by law because they're too young to like fully comprehend what they've done, blah blah blah. Would you say that like that should be implemented when it comes to like parenting and just like severity of punishments? Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't hit a 17-year-old because she's a child, she doesn't know, but like maybe like 0 to 8 or 7.
No, more of from 0 to the age 4, right? Maybe 3, age 4, right? Yeah, let me go. Age 4. That you don't need, the child don't need, it would be pointless of trying to discipline the child at that age. But from 4 to 18, I believe, as long as that child is not comprehending, you should try many methods. You should try gentle parenting. You should try traditional ass whooping. You should try bottles, antsness. You should try them until that child gets it. I mean, I believe that every parent who gave birth and then to a good child and then that child becomes a criminal, deep down that parent would say, I failed my child. And as a parent, you don't ever want to say that about your child or about yourself or about your duty. So I believe in doing whatever is necessary. And that's me.
All right, guys, we hear you. We appreciate all the feedback and responses. And, you know, we value hearing your thoughts and opinions on these matters.